I stood frozen in the restaurant doorway, staring at my husband's back. Eric, my Eric, holding hands with a woman I'd never seen before. The waiter had just told me, "Your husband? Table 5, ma'am." But Eric had texted me 30 minutes ago. Asterisk. Stuck at work, babe. Don't wait up. Asterisk. My phone buzzed in my trembling hand. Another message from him. Asterisk. Missing you already, asterisk. I looked up. He was laughing. She was smiling. And on her finger, was that a diamond ring? "Ma'am, are you okay?" the waiter whispered. I wasn't. Because 3 months ago, I'd found a receipt for that exact ring in Eric's jacket. He'd said it was for a client. My heart pounded so loud I thought everyone could hear it. And that's where my story truly began. Before I share this chapter of my life, if you've ever felt ignored, unheard, or underestimated, then this channel is for you. Subscribe to Jossy Revenge, where every story has a heartbeat. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Viven, and I notice things. It's not a choice, it's my profession. As a graphic designer, I spend my days studying colors, alignments, patterns, symmetries. I notice when a font is 2 pixels off, when a shadow doesn't match its light source, when something that should be balanced isn't. So when my husband started changing, I noticed. It began small. So small that most wives might have missed it. Eric started wearing cologne on Tuesdays. Only Tuesdays. He'd never been a cologne person. For 5 years of marriage, the man smelled like soap and ambition, nothing more, nothing less. But suddenly, every Tuesday morning, there was this scent. Woody. Expensive. Deliberate. "New cologne?" I asked one morning, kissing his cheek. "Oh, yeah. Got it free at a work event," he said, not looking up from his phone. Free cologne at a work event. Okay, reasonable. Except he worked in corporate finance, not perfume marketing. I filed it away in my mental folder, labeled Times Things That Don't Quite Fit, asterisk. Then came the phone calls. Eric had always been glued to his phone emails, market updates, client messages. Normal. But now, when his phone rang, he'd glance at the screen, then at me, then walk into another room. "Who was that?" I'd ask when he returned. "Just work stuff. Boring contracts. Always work. Always boring. Always something he couldn't discuss at the dinner table." I'm not a jealous wife. I never checked his phone, never demanded passwords, never played detective. I trusted him. We'd built our marriage on trust, hadn't we? But my designer's eye kept catching inconsistencies. Like the night he came home at 10 p.m., claiming he'd been in back-to-back meetings, but his shirt was perfectly pressed. Eric's shirts wrinkled if he breathed too hard. After a full day of meetings, he should have looked like a crumpled napkin. This shirt looked freshly ironed. "Long day?" I asked, stirring pasta at the stove. "Exhausting," he sighed, loosening his tie. "I'm gonna shower." He kissed my forehead and disappeared upstairs. I stood there, wooden spoon in hand, replaying the kiss. It had landed slightly to the left of where he usually kissed me. A tiny shift, a micro-adjustment, like he'd practiced kissing someone else's forehead and forgot the coordinates of mine. "Stop it, Viven," I told myself. "You're overthinking." This is what happens when you analyze compositions all day. You start seeing patterns that aren't there. But patterns were there. 2 weeks later, I found the receipt. I wasn't snooping. I was doing laundry, his favorite gray jacket needed dry cleaning. I always checked pockets first. Loose change, business cards, the occasional mint wrapper. This time, I found a folded receipt from Brilliance & Co., a high-end jewelry store downtown. 1 diamond, engagement ring, $8,4. My breath caught. An engagement ring? My hands shook as I read it again. The date was from 3 weeks ago, right around the time the cologne started. I sat on the edge of our bed, receipt trembling between my fingers. Maybe it was a gift for me. An anniversary surprise? No, our anniversary had passed 2 months ago. He'd gotten me a Kindle and a nice dinner. Sweet, but not $8,400 sweet. Maybe it was for a client. Eric's firm did corporate gifts sometimes. Expensive watches for executives, luxury pens for board members. But an engagement ring? When Eric came home that night, I was waiting in the living room, receipt on the coffee table. "Hey, babe," he said, dropping his keys. Then he saw my face, saw the paper. His smile flickered. "What's this?" I asked quietly. He picked it up, barely glanced at it. "Oh, that. It's for a client." "A client?" "Yeah, one of the senior partners is proposing to his girlfriend. He asked me to pick it up, since the store's near my office. I'll get reimbursed." His answer came too quickly, too smooth, like he'd rehearsed it. "Which senior partner?" I asked. "Thompson. You haven't met him." "And he trusted you with an $8,400 ring?" Eric laughed, this casual, breezy laugh that sounded nothing like him. "Viv, you're overthinking. It's just an errand. You want me to call him right now?" He pulled out his phone, thumb hovering over the screen. I wanted to say yes. Call him. Prove it. But I didn't. Because what if I was wrong? What if I was becoming that wife, the paranoid one, the suspicious one, the one who couldn't let her husband breathe without interrogation? "No," I said softly. "I trust you." His shoulders relaxed. He kissed the top of my head. "I know you do. That's why I love you." That night, I lay awake beside him, listening to him breathe. The cologne, the phone calls, the pressed shirt, the receipt, 4 data points. In design, 4 aligned elements create a pattern, a direction, a narrative. But I didn't want to see where this narrative was going. The next Tuesday, I decided to stop noticing. I made myself breakfast, kissed Eric goodbye, and went to work. I had a logo redesign due, a website mock-up, 3 client calls. I buried myself in pixels and color codes. But at 11 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Eric. Asterisk, dinner meeting tonight. Probably running late. Order something for yourself, asterisk. Dinner meeting. Tuesday night. I stared at the message. Then, I opened my design software and created a new document. I titled it Asterisk Timeline Asterisk. I started filling it in. Every Tuesday for the past 6 weeks. Every late meeting. Every cologne day. They all lined up. Tuesdays weren't random. They were scheduled. My chest tightened. "Viv, you okay?" My coworker, Marcus, poked his head into my cubicle. "Yeah," I lied. "Just stuck on a concept. Want a fresh pair of eyes?" I looked at my screen at the timeline I'd built, color-coded and cross-referenced, like a data visualization project. "No," I said. "I think I'm seeing it clearly now." That evening, I sat alone in our apartment, eating takeout pasta I wasn't hungry for. Eric texted at 8 p.m. Asterisk, still here. Clients are ordering another round. Miss you. Asterisk. At 9 p.m. Asterisk. Wrapping up soon. Be home by 10. Asterisk. At 9:45 p.m. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Hi. Is this Viven Marlowe?" "Yes." "This is Jennifer from First National Bank. I'm calling about a loan application submitted under your name. We just need to verify some details." My fork clattered against the plate. I didn't apply for a loan. Oh, a pause. Papers rustling. The application was submitted 2 days ago for $15,000. It lists you as the primary borrower, with Eric Marlowe as co-signer. My vision blurred. Can you email me the application?" "Of course. I'm sending it now." I hung up and opened my laptop with shaking hands. The email arrived. I clicked the attachment. There was my name, my signature, or a very good copy of it, my social security number, my employment information, and in the section labeled Times Purpose of Loan, asterisk, personal investment and family expenses. I hadn't signed this, but someone had, someone who knew everything about me. At 10:15 p.m., Eric's keys jingled in the door. "Hey, babe, I'm home," he called, cheerful and relaxed. I was sitting in the dark living room, laptop glowing. Viv, why are the lights off? I turned on the lamp. He froze when he saw my face. We need to talk, I said. About what? I turned the laptop toward him. About the $15,000 loan you took out in my name. For 3 seconds, he said nothing. Then, I can explain. Please do. He sat down, rubbing his face. Okay, listen. It's not what it looks like. What does it look like, Eric? I needed to show proof of assets. For a promotion opportunity. The firm wanted to see financial stability, and our joint account didn't have enough. So you committed fraud? It's not fraud if I'm paying it back. Viv, this promotion, it's huge. Vice President of Acquisitions. It comes with a $200K salary. I just needed to look more established on paper. I stared at him. This man, my husband, the person I'd trusted for 5 years. Who's Ellie? I asked quietly. His face went white. What? Your phone lit up last night. A text from Ali. It said, can't wait for Saturday. Have you ever watched someone's entire lie collapse in real time? Eric's mouth opened, closed, opened again. She's a colleague. Try again. Viv, try again. He stood up, pacing. Okay, fine. Yes. I've been seeing someone. The words hung in the air like smoke. I'd known. Somewhere deep down, I'd known. But hearing it out loud felt like falling through ice. Her name is Alina, he continued, voice tight. She's the chairman's daughter, and yes, I've been dating her. Because the promotion isn't just about skills, Viv. It's about connections. It's about who you know, who you're seen with. I couldn't breathe. You're using her. I'm being strategic. And me? My voice cracked. What am I? He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something that broke me more than the affair itself. Pity. You're my wife, he said softly. And I do love you. But Viv, you're a freelance designer. You work from home in sweatpants. Alina's father owns half the commercial real estate in this city. Do you understand what marriage to her would mean for my career? Marriage. The diamond ring. The loan. The Tuesdays. It all clicked into place like a finished design. You're engaged to her, I whispered. He didn't deny it. I stood up, legs shaking. Get out. Viv, get out. He grabbed his jacket, paused at the door. I'll fix the loan thing, I promise. Then he left. I sank onto the couch and stared at the wall until sunrise. And that's when I stopped being the wife who noticed things and became the woman who would do something about them. For 3 days, I became a ghost in my own life. I went to work. I ate food I didn't taste. I answered client emails in a fog. At night, I slept in our bed alone, now staring at the ceiling, replaying Eric's words over and over. Asterisk. Do you understand what marriage to her would mean for my career? Asterisk. Marriage. He'd said it so casually, like he was discussing a business merger, which, I suppose, he was. Eric had been staying at a hotel. He texted me every day. Asterisk. I'm sorry. Can we talk? I'll explain everything. Asterisk. I didn't respond. Marcus noticed at work. On Thursday, he brought me coffee and sat on the edge of my desk. You've been staring at that logo for 2 hours without changing a single pixel, he said gently. What's going on? I almost told him. Almost let it all spill out. But instead, I just said, husband trouble. He nodded knowingly. The kind that needs ice cream or the kind that needs a lawyer? I laughed a bitter, hollow sound. I haven't decided yet. But I had decided something else. I was going to find out exactly what Eric was planning. Not because I wanted him back, but because I needed to understand the full picture before I made my next move. I'd spent 5 years trusting blindly. I was done with that. Friday evening, I did something I'd never done before. I logged into our phone account, the family plan we shared, and checked Eric's call history. My hands trembled as the records loaded. Pages and pages of calls. most to numbers I didn't recognize. But one number appeared constantly, multiple times a day, every day, for the past 2 months. I copied the number and searched it online. Nothing came up under personal listings. But when I tried a reverse image search combined with the area code, I found a professional LinkedIn profile. Alina Cartwright, Yale graduate, MBA from Wharton, currently exploring investment opportunities in the family business. And there, in her profile photo, was the woman I'd seen in my nightmares for 3 days. Beautiful, polished, confident, everything I apparently wasn't. Her father was Preston Cartwright, chairman and CEO of Cartwright Holdings. I'd heard of them. Everyone had. They owned half the skyline. I scrolled through Alina's photos. Charity galas, yacht parties, red carpet events. And in one photo from 3 weeks ago, her hand extended toward the camera, showing off a massive diamond ring. The caption, asterisk, he said yes. Number engaged. Number future Mrs. Perfect, asterisk. My stomach turned. The comments were full of congratulations, friends gushing, family celebrating. Not one person questioning who he was. I zoomed in on the ring. It looked exactly like the one on the receipt I'd found. So Eric had told me the truth about one thing. He did buy a ring for a proposal. He just forgot to mention he was the one proposing. I took screenshots of everything. The photos, the engagement announcement, her profile. Then I opened a new folder on my laptop and labeled it asterisk. Evidence asterisk. Because something was forming in my mind. Not revenge. I'm not a vengeful person. But clarity. Strategy. If Eric had taught me anything, it was that information was power. Saturday morning, I received a text from an unknown number. Asterisk. Hi Viven, this is Alina. I think we should talk. Can you meet me for coffee today? 2 p.m. at Marlowe Cafe, asterisk. My heart stopped. Alina. Reaching out to me directly. How did she even get my number? I stared at the message for a full minute, then typed back, asterisk. How did you get this number? Asterisk. 3 dots appeared. Then, asterisk. Eric gave it to me. Please, I just want to talk. Woman to woman. Asterisk. Woman to woman. I almost laughed, but curiosity won. I needed to see her, hear her, understand what she knew. Asterisk. Okay. 2 p.m. Asterisk. I spent 2 hours getting ready, not because I wanted to impress her, but because I needed armor. I wore my best black dress, the one that made me feel like I could handle anything. I did my makeup carefully, styled my hair. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. Good. Marlowe Cafe was downtown, all exposed brick and pretentious lighting. I arrived 5 minutes early and spotted her immediately. Alina sat in the corner booth, wearing a cream cashmere sweater and designer jeans. Her engagement ring caught the light every time she moved her hand. She saw me and waved nervously. I walked over, heart pounding. Viven, she said, standing. Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would. I wasn't sure I would either, I said honestly, sliding into the seat across from her. Up close, she looked younger than her photos. Maybe 26, 27. Her makeup was flawless, but her eyes were red-rimmed. She'd been crying. I don't really know how to start this, Alina said, fidgeting with her coffee cup. But I felt like you deserved to hear it from me. Hear what? She took a deep breath. Eric and I are engaged. We've been together for 4 months. He told me he was divorced, that his marriage ended 2 years ago, that he'd been single ever since. The cafe noise faded to white static. He told you we were divorced? She nodded, tears pooling. I found out 3 days ago that he lied. A friend of mine saw him listed as married on some banking document. I confronted him. He admitted the truth, that you're still married, that he's been lying to both of us. I couldn't speak. I'm so sorry, Alina whispered. I had no idea. If I'd known. Why are you telling me this? I interrupted. Why not just leave him? She looked down at her ring. Because I need to understand something. Do you love him? The question caught me off guard. Did I love Eric? A week ago, I would have said yes without hesitation. But now, I loved who I thought he was, I said slowly. But that person doesn't exist. So, no, I don't love him. Alina wiped her eyes. My father is planning to announce our engagement at a company event next Friday. He's making Eric vice president of acquisitions. The whole thing is already in motion. I know, I said. Eric told me. Did he tell you he took out a loan in your name to prove financial stability to my father? My blood ran cold. How do you know about that? Because he told me, Alina said bitterly. He said he needed to show he was financially responsible, that he came from good stock. Those were his exact words. My father requires full financial disclosure from anyone entering the family business. Eric needed his numbers to look better. I felt sick. So he committed fraud, I said flatly. Apparently, Alina twisted her ring. Look, I know you have every right to hate me. I don't hate you, I said, surprised to find it was true. You didn't know. He lied to both of us. But I should have seen the signs, the way he was always vague about his past, how he never wanted me to come to his apartment. God, I'm such an idiot. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. What are you going to do? I asked. She looked up, mascara smudged. I don't know. My father has already put so much into this. The promotion, the announcement. If I back out now? She trailed off, but I understood. This wasn't just about a broken engagement. It was about family expectations, business arrangements, social status. She was trapped too. Can I ask you something? I said. Anything. Does Eric love you? Or does he love what you represent? Alina laughed a sharp, painful sound. I think we both know the answer to that. We sat in silence for a moment. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Eric. Dinner reservation tonight at Rossetti's, 7 p.m. Table for 2. I want to fix this, Viv. Please come. I stared at the message. Rossetti's, the most expensive Italian restaurant in the city. Table for 2. But which 2 was he talking about? An idea formed. Dangerous, maybe reckless. But I was tired of being the wife who just noticed things. I looked up at Alina. What are you doing tonight at 7 p.m.? She blinked. Nothing. Why? Because I think Eric just invited both of us to dinner. Her eyes widened. What? I showed her the text. I bet you got the same message, I said. She pulled out her phone, scrolled, then gasped. Oh my God, dinner at Rossetti's, 7 p.m. Can't wait to see you, beautiful. We stared at each other. He's double booking, Alina whispered. He's actually double booking us. What would you do if you discovered your husband invited you and his fiancée to the same restaurant? I'll tell you what I did. I smiled. Want to know what table he reserved? I asked. Alina leaned forward. How would you know that? Because I know Eric. He always requests the same table when he wants to impress someone. Table 5. Corner booth. Best view in the house. I pulled up Rossetti's website and called the reservation line. Hi, I need to confirm a reservation for Eric Marlowe tonight at 7 p.m. Yes, ma'am. Table 5. Party of 2. Perfect. Can you make that a party of 3? I'm bringing a friend. Of course. See you tonight? I hung up. Alina was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. You're serious. Completely. You want to both show up? At the same time? I want to see what he does when his two worlds collide. A slow smile spread across Alina's face. You know what? So do I. Good, I said, standing. Wear something memorable. At 6:45 p.m., I stood outside Rossetti's in my red dress, the one Eric always said made me look like trouble. Tonight, he was right. Alina arrived at 6:50, wearing black silk and determination. We didn't speak, just exchanged a look. Then we walked in together. The hostess smiled. Good evening. Do you have a reservation? Yes, I said. Marlowe. Table 5. Right this way. She led us through the restaurant, past couples holding hands, families celebrating, businessmen closing deals. And there, in the corner booth with the best view in the house, sat my husband, Eric, alone, checking his phone, completely unaware that his entire life was about to implode. The hostess gestured to the table. "Here you are. Enjoy your meal." Eric looked up. His face went through 5 emotions in 2 seconds. Confusion, recognition, horror, panic, and finally, the desperate smile of a man trying to pretend everything was fine. "Viv," he said, standing. "And, Alina, what are you both doing here?" I slid into the booth on one side. Alina sat on the other. Eric remained standing, trapped between us. "Sit down, Eric," I said calmly. "You invited us to dinner." There's been some kind of mistake." "The only mistake," Alina said coldly, "was trusting you." The waiter appeared, oblivious. "Good evening. Can I start you off with drinks?" "Whiskey," Eric said weakly. "Double." "Water for me," I said. "Same," Alina added. The waiter left. Eric sat down slowly, looking between us like a cornered animal. "Okay," he said. "I know how this looks." "Do you?" I interrupted. "Because it looks like you proposed to your boss's daughter while still married to your wife. It looks like you committed fraud in my name to impress her family. It looks like you've been living a double life for 4 months." Alina pulled out her phone. "It also looks like you told me your wife was dead." Eric's face went pale. "I never said she was dead. You said your marriage ended 2 years ago. You let me believe she was gone. What was I supposed to think?" "I was going to tell you," he stammered. "Both of you. I just needed more time." "Time for what?" I asked. "Time to figure out which one of us was worth more to your career?" He flinched. The waiter returned with drinks. "Ready to order?" "Not yet," Alina said without breaking eye contact with Eric. The waiter retreated. I leaned forward. "Here's what's going to happen, Eric. I'm going to tell you what I know. Then you're going to tell us the truth. All of it." He downed his whiskey in one gulp. "I know about the loan," I began. "I know you needed $15,000 to show Alina's father you were financially stable. I know the bank flagged it because the signature didn't quite match mine. And I know that loan fraud is a federal crime." Eric's hands were shaking. "I also know," Alina continued, "that my father's legal team does extensive background checks on anyone joining the family business, and they're scheduled to complete yours on Monday." Eric's face went gray. "What? What are you saying?" Alina smiled, sweet and poisonous. "I'm saying I called my father this afternoon. I told him everything. The fake divorce, the wife you forgot to mention, the fraudulent loan." "No," Eric whispered. "No, you didn't. The promotion, the announcement, is canceled," Alina finished. "As of 3 p.m. today. Congratulations, Eric. You're not vice president of anything. You're suspended pending investigation." I watched my husband crumble, and I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sadness, just a strange, hollow relief. "Why?" Eric asked, voice breaking. "Why would you do this?" I stood up, slinging my purse over my shoulder. "Because you taught me something important, Eric. You taught me that some people see relationships as transactions, as ladder rungs, as means to an end." I dropped a business card on the table, my lawyer's information. "You'll be hearing from my attorney about the divorce and the loan fraud charges. The bank is very interested in prosecuting." Alina stood too. "And you'll be hearing from my father's legal team about breach of contract and misrepresentation." We walked toward the exit together. Behind us, Eric called out, "Viv, Alina, please, we can fix this." I didn't turn around. Neither did Alina, but at the door, she paused and looked at me. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For showing me what he really was before I married him." I nodded. "Thank you for believing me." We stepped out into the cool evening air, and for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. The morning after the dinner, I woke up in my apartment, not our apartment anymore, just mine, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness. Not quite. But the quiet, steady calm that comes from finally knowing the truth. My phone had 17 missed calls from Eric. I deleted them all without listening. There were also 3 texts from Alina. Asterisk. Thank you for last night. Asterisk. Asterisk. My father wants to speak with you. Are you comfortable with that? Asterisk. Asterisk. No pressure. Just let me know. Asterisk. I sat up in bed, pulling my knees to my chest. Preston Cartwright wanted to speak with me. The man who owned half the city. The man whose daughter Eric had tried to marry for a promotion. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to close this chapter and move on. But another part, the part that had spent 5 years being the trusting wife, the understanding partner, the woman who didn't ask too many questions, that part wanted answers. I texted Alina back, asterisk, I'll meet with him. When and where, asterisk. Her response came immediately, asterisk, his office. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., I'll send the address. And Viven? He's not what you'd expect. Asterisk. I spent the rest of Sunday preparing. I pulled together every document I had. The loan application with my forged signature, the bank's fraud investigation notice, screenshots of Eric's text messages, the receipt for Alina's engagement ring, phone records showing the pattern of calls. I organized it all into a clean labeled folder, because once a designer, always a designer. If Preston Cartwright wanted the truth, I'd give him a presentation he couldn't ignore. That evening, Marcus called me. Okay, I've been patient, he said. But you've been MIA all weekend, and I need to know you're alive. I smiled, despite myself. I'm alive. Are you okay? I'm getting there. Does this have to do with the husband trouble? I hesitated. Then, Eric was cheating on me. He was engaged to another woman while still married to me. He took out a loan in my name to impress her father. And on Saturday night, I confronted him at a restaurant in front of his fiancée. Silence. Then, holy shit. Yeah. Are you serious right now? Completely. More silence. Then Marcus said, you know what? Good. You deserve so much better than that. Are you filing for divorce? Already contacted my lawyer. And the loan fraud? The bank's handling it. Good. Let him rot. He paused. Do you need anything? Wine? Ice cream? Someone to slash his tires? I laughed. A real laugh this time. I'm okay. Really. But thank you. I'm serious, Viv. You need backup, you call me. I will. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet of my apartment and realized something. I had friends. I had skills. I had a career I'd built myself. Eric had taken a lot from me, my trust, my peace of mind, 5 years of my life. But he hadn't taken everything. Monday morning, I put on my best Navy suit, the one I wore to important client meetings, and took the subway to Cartwright Holdings. The building was 60 stories of glass and steel, the kind of place where even the elevators felt expensive. Alina met me in the lobby, wearing a professional black dress and a cautious smile. He's expecting you, she said. Are you nervous? Should I be? No, he's actually grateful. You'll see. She led me to the top floor, through a maze of polished corridors, to a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Preston Cartwright stood when we entered. He was in his mid-60s, silver-haired, with the kind of presence that came from decades of closing billion-dollar deals. But his eyes were kind. Mrs. Marlowe, he said, extending his hand. Thank you for coming. Miss Marlowe, I corrected gently, shaking his hand. Or just Viven. He nodded. Viven, please, sit. Alina sat beside me. Preston took the chair across from us, not behind his imposing desk. A deliberate choice, I noticed. I'll get straight to the point, he said. My daughter told me everything. About Eric, about his deception, about what he did to you. I nodded. I want you to know that I take full responsibility for not vetting him more thoroughly. My team did a background check, but Eric was clever. He hid the marriage. fabricated documents, made himself look like exactly the kind of ambitious young executive we look for. He's good at that, I said quietly, making himself look like something he's not. Preston leaned forward. I also want you to know that as of this morning, Eric Marlowe's employment with Cartwright Holdings has been terminated. Not suspended, terminated, with cause. I felt Alina stiffen beside me. Additionally, Preston continued, I've referred his case to our legal team regarding the fraudulent loan application. They'll be cooperating fully with the bank's investigation and with law enforcement if charges are filed. Thank you, I said, but you didn't need to meet with me just to tell me that. A small smile crossed his face. Perceptive. You're right. I asked you here because I wanted to apologize personally. My family has been in business for 3 generations, and we've built our reputation on integrity. Eric nearly compromised that. He used my daughter. He used you. And he tried to use my company as a stepping stone. He stood and walked to the window, looking out over the city. I've spent 40 years learning to read people, he said, and I missed this one. That bothers me. He fooled everyone, I said. That's what con artists do. Preston turned. Is that what you think he is? A con artist? I considered the question. I think Eric is someone who decided his ambition mattered more than other people's hearts, I said slowly. I think he looked at his life and decided the only way up was to climb over whoever was in his way. He didn't set out to be a villain. He just stopped seeing people as people. Alina wiped her eyes. Preston nodded slowly. That's remarkably fair of you. Most people in your position would want blood. I'm not most people, I said. And honestly, the best revenge is just letting the truth be known. The rest takes care of itself. Have you ever noticed how powerful the truth is once it's finally free? Preston returned to his seat. Alina told me you have documentation. May I see it? I pulled out my folder and handed it to him. He spent 15 minutes reviewing everything in silence. The forged signatures, the timeline, the text messages, the receipts. Finally, he closed the folder and looked at me. This is meticulous, he said. You should have been a lawyer. I'm a graphic designer. I notice patterns. Clearly, he handed the folder back. Would you be willing to provide copies of this to our legal team? And to testify if needed? Yes. Thank you. He paused. I also want to offer you something. Compensation for your time, your emotional distress, the fraud committed in your name. I don't want money, I interrupted. Preston raised an eyebrow. No. I just want to move on. File for divorce. Cancel that loan. Start over. That's refreshingly honest. Alina spoke up. Dad, what if we hired her? Both Preston and I turned to look at her. What? I asked. We're redesigning the company website, rebranding our investor materials. We've been interviewing design firms for weeks and haven't found the right fit. She looked at her father. Viven's a graphic designer. A good one. I looked at her portfolio online. Why not give her the contract? Preston considered this. That's not a bad idea. I don't need charity, I said quickly. It's not charity, Alina countered. It's business. We need a designer. You need work. And frankly, I'd rather give the contract to someone I trust than some corporate firm that charges triple and delivers half. I looked between them. This was unexpected. I'd have to see the scope of the project, I said carefully. And you'd have to see my rates. Preston smiled. Fair enough. Alina, set up a meeting with the marketing team. Let's see if this is a good fit. As Alina walked me out 20 minutes later, she stopped at the elevator. I meant what I said in there, she told me, about the contract. But also, thank you for Saturday night, for showing me the truth before I made the biggest mistake of my life. You would have figured it out eventually, I said. Maybe, but it would have been after the wedding, after my father had invested millions into Eric's career, after I'd wasted years on someone who saw me as a transaction. She pressed the elevator button. You saved me from that. The doors opened. For what it's worth, I said, stepping inside, I think you deserve someone who loves you for you, Not for your last name." She smiled, sad but genuine. "So do you." The elevator descended, and as I rode down from the 60th floor, watching the city shrink below me, I realized something. I wasn't the same woman who'd walked into that restaurant 3 days ago. That woman had been afraid, uncertain, broken. This woman knew her worth. The divorce took 6 weeks. Eric tried to contest it at first, claiming I was being unreasonable. But when my lawyer presented the evidence, the affair, the fraud, the double life his lawyer advised him to settle quickly and quietly, he signed the papers on a Tuesday. The same day of the week, he used to wear cologne for Alina. The loan was canceled. The bank dropped the fraud investigation after Eric repaid the full amount plus penalties. He avoided criminal charges, but his professional reputation was destroyed. Turns out, news travels fast in corporate finance circles. No one wanted to hire the man who'd tried to marry into the Cartwright family through deception. I heard through Marcus, who heard through a friend, that Eric had moved to another state, starting over somewhere. No one knew his name. I didn't follow up. I didn't need to. As for me, I took the contract with Cartwright Holdings. The project was challenging, a complete visual rebrand, but I loved it. It reminded me why I'd become a designer in the first place. Not to notice what was wrong, but to create something right. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I moved into a new apartment. Smaller than the one I'd shared with Eric, but it was mine. Every piece of furniture, every paint color, every choice. Mine. Alina and I became unlikely friends. Not close, our history was too complicated for that, but we'd text occasionally. She was dating someone new, a philosophy professor who'd never heard of her father and didn't care about his money. She seemed happy. On the 6-month anniversary of that night at Rossetti's, I was sitting in my apartment, working on a logo design, when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Asterisk. I know I have no right to contact you, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved better. E**. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but because that chapter was over, and I was writing a new one. That evening, I stood on my small balcony with a cup of tea, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. I thought about the woman I'd been a year ago, the one who'd noticed the cologne, the phone calls, the pressed shirt, the one who'd been too afraid to trust what she saw. And I thought about the woman I was now, the one who'd walked into a restaurant and faced the truth head on, the one who'd chosen herself. I didn't destroy Eric. I didn't need to. The truth did that. All I did was refuse to keep his secrets. And sometimes, that's the most powerful thing you can do. Moral of the story. You know what I learned from all of this? Revenge isn't about destruction. It's not about getting even or making someone pay. Real revenge is choosing yourself when someone else chose to betray you. It's refusing to carry their lies, refusing to protect their image, refusing to stay small so they can feel big. I didn't ruin Eric's life. He did that himself. One selfish decision at a time. I just stopped holding up the illusion. And here's the truth they don't tell you about betrayal. The pain doesn't last forever. It feels like it will. Those first few nights, I thought I'd never breathe normally again. But slowly, day by day, the weight lifted. And what was underneath surprised me. Strength I didn't know I had, clarity I'd been missing for years, and a version of myself I actually liked. I'm not going to pretend it was easy. There were hard days. Days when I missed the life I thought I had, even knowing it was built on lies. But on those days, I'd remember, I deserved someone who chose me on purpose, not someone who kept me around as a backup plan. So if you're going through something similar right now, if you've noticed the signs, felt that instinct that something's wrong, trust yourself. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're awake. And being awake, even when it hurts, is always better than sleeping through your own life. My story didn't end with a dramatic confrontation or a perfect comeback. It ended with me in a quiet apartment, building a life I was proud of. One design at a time. one decision at a time, one day at a time. And honestly, that's the sweetest revenge of all. If my story touched you, hit that subscribe button for more emotional tales from Jossy Revenge. And even if it didn't, come on, subscribe anyway. I'll win you over next time. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have confronted him the way I did, or would you have handled it differently? I really want to know. Like the video if you believe the truth always finds its way out. And let's keep these stories alive, because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear that they're not alone. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.